Welcome back, y'all. So I'm actually well, I shouldn't say actually because there's never a time I wasn't, but I am thoroughly enjoying having the car back. Kind of funny because, as you see now, it is back on jack stands. Um, but it's been a blast to drive and just having fun with it. It is, however, unfortunately, getting into the cold months, and I think I'm becoming weak after having lived in some warm areas for quite a while. My Washingtonian self, getting used to all that gloomy and rainy weather. I've been in some hot climates, and so I'm super sensitive to the cold, and it gets me. Um, but working through it, it is what it is. So I just don't want to take the car out. I just have a preference, It's one of those things where the car's tuned on E85, and I want to drive it on E85, even though I could revert it back to 93. But 93 is not as fun. I can go farther on it. It's just I don't have as much power, so it's just one of those. It's one of my preferences, but I forget whether I said it last time or not, but I know I mentioned the two power levels that I have. So I told my tuner, or the shop and the tuner, that I wanted a power level for the track and then a power level for the street. A little bit more for the street because I'm not, trying to run a road course or anything like that and go as fast as I possibly can. But the fortunate part is that the power levels for the track, that setting, it's perfectly fine. It had no issue whatsoever. I think it was 26 pounds or 23 for 93, and then 26 for ethanol, making, as I said last time, 350 on 93 and 450 on E85. And I got the other power level on 33 psi, making 600 to the wheels. However, dyno being different than the street, it's having issues with controlling boost on the street. So this might be something that is weird with the ECU, or just trying to work out how to use the ECU in general. And so on the computer or the factory ECU, I'm not sure how it was done, but obviously I never had an issue with any of my tunes. Not saying that this ECU is causing a problem, because I don't believe it is. It's just figuring things out, and it's a little bit more complicated. The tuners, well, he's capable. I'm talking to him through the issues, but for whatever reason, he was having some issues with boost control on the setup. So what we're trying to do is, right now, I'll set you down, and I'll come back here in a little bit. Okay. So one of the recommendations or the things that my tuner and I talked about was swapping out and lowering the spring pressure in the wastegate itself. So what he was talking to me about was, and it was, I also watched an Evans Performance something. I forget what it is. Anyway, it's a walkthrough with, he does a lot of, I think it was Evans Performance Academy. He does a lot of videos for Link ECUs. And so when I was talking to my tuner, we were talking about closed loop tune boost control. So I decided to look at a video for that and, figure out some things that are going on. And what my tuner had talked to me about was lowering the spring pressure within the wastegate and trying to go through with that. So as he was explaining, and as the video that I watched verified or supported, was my tuner said that he would try to do like 1.5% to 1.5% duty cycle changes on the wastegate, which would give a like 3 to 5% difference in boost pressure, which he said is absurd, and the video itself even said that's ridiculous. The video also talked about changing the frequency at which the boost control solenoid operates at. I have the 3-port in the car. I forget what brand it is, but it's a 3-port regardless. And you can change the frequency at which it works at. And my tuner tried boost control on three different frequencies and couldn't get boost to be controlled properly. So told me to lower the wastegate spring pressures. So I took the wastegate out, which taking it out is a whole lot easier than freaking installing this dang thing. It is a pain in the butt, but coming soon, hopefully trying to, here in a bit, I'll talk to you about about one of the parts that's pretty cool that Tile redid. So anyway, in order to do this, I pulled up the spring chart for the Tile MVR external wastegate. I believe it's a 44 millimeter. I remember having a 38, and then I jumped up to the 62, 66, and my tuner at the time recommended me jump up to a 44, so that's what I went with. Can lower duty cycle, but still bypass a lot more exhaust if I need to. So it should be good now. Hopefully I don't have to bump up anymore, but it's been fine up to 700 on the 62, 66, so I should be good. Anyway, it has been 7 years-ish. 7 years, because the build was done in 2018, since I've actually opened the wastegate itself. So just opening it was kind of terrifying because I didn't know how hard the springs would try to push the cap out, but everything went fine. I got the springs adjusted and whatnot. So not that it really matters, but I had the black spring, the blue spring, and the green spring. And since this is 2018, I know I was in college in 2012, so I couldn't afford any of this. And that was when I was back on in college. It was factory turbo, so the TD04, and then after graduation, I upgraded to the Dominator 1.5 XTR. So wasn't using any of this. So I could go by the spring chart for 2012 and after. So with the black, blue, and the green spring, we're looking at 1 bar of spring pressure, 14.5 psi, and I thought I had 17, but I don't know why I thought that. I just did. Either way, took those out, and just because I was worried about how difficult it would be to get the springs in here, I've already put the new ones in, and so now I have the black and the red spring. So now there is roughly 10.15 psi worth of spring in the wastegate. So we'll see if this helps. And the issue has been that the car is currently operating on open loop boost control. So it's trying to correct for boost pressures or boost targets, and it's good, but it's not nearly as effective as closed loop, which closed loop is more based off of errors. I don't know I'm not all sorts of crazy or knowledgeable about it, because there's also the PID settings, which I can't even tell you what the letters even freaking stand for right now. I know the I is integral. And I can't think of what the P and the D stand for. But anyway, there's 2 boost tables, and then or 2 wastegate duty cycle tables, and the PID settings within the closed loop boost control find errors, correct for them, and then it holds the boost pressure more steadily. So hopefully lowering the spring pressure within the gate will solve that issue. But now is the time I get to have fun and try to get this darn wastegate back in. And like I said, um, there's some new part. There's a new part that they had come out with. So this is the old clamp. Sorry about that. So this is the old clamp. Kind of got like a little hinge joint right there. You know, two fulcrums and whatnot. Kind of difficult. And then the bolt and the nut. Super tiny, and that's probably why it was way more difficult. And then trying to hold this thing up, the outlet for the wastegate, I'm keeping it as that clamp. I just don't feel like taking this off and having to try to figure everything out again. I'd rather just rotate, since I know the dump tube is at a good orientation for the setup. I just want to have to rotate the wastegate itself to figure out where the heck to put everything. So anyway, with the old clamp, I would literally have to get the wastegate to go snug right up against the up pipe flange for it, and try my darndest to get both of these to secure. And it seems a lot easier talking through it to do it than it actually is. And then obviously get the bolt through the hole, and then somehow just by the way that it is, it has to be. So imagine I'm under the car and behind the engine. Got to somehow got to fit my two hands up where all the exhaust pieces go, and try to hold the bolt down and then screw on the nut, and get the nut tight enough so that the clamp actually clamps. Very difficult because it requires two hands to be able to do all that. Well, thankfully they came out with a new design, and hopefully in my mind it looks a lot easier. Hopefully it is as easy as it seems, but it's just like all the other V-band clamps. Thankfully that's all I've got for the rest of the exhaust system. And here I am trying to get the bolt out, but my hands got coolant on them, so they're all slippery. So hopefully now this makes it a whole lot easier, because it's just a one bolt setup. There's no nut involved in this. The one side of it is threaded, so it should be easier. So I believe this will also act kind of like the exhaust pieces. There's a little bit of wiggle room, and then as you tighten the V-band, the V-band clamp, it kind of like closes the two parts and hinges them. So there's a little bit of leeway. So hopefully it's kind of like that, where once I can put this on the up pipe, and then just kind of snug the wastegate up to it, cinch those parts, and then thread the bolt in. Can't tell you, obviously this is going to be my first time putting it together, but hopefully my idea, the concept, the theory that I have does make this a whole lot easier. And I'm pretty sure I could even slide it on there as it is. No, I'm wrong. But anyway, here we go. I'm going to try to see how well I can do this, and hopefully it goes a lot smoother than what I think it will. And then discuss with my tuner and see how we're going to go about this, because I would be very happy, obviously, to be able to run this thing on full tilt on the street and have some fun with it. So here I go, putting it back together. That could have gone smoother, but everything is back together. I do have a few little discrepancies that I want to go through. I actually had to, so it's very, I don't know, I have a little bit of a complication with tightening down the exhaust, because there's three pipes, but three connections. So the connection of the mid pipe to the cat back, I should say, to the mid pipe, and then the mid pipe to the down pipe, and the down pipe to the turbo. Just having all those different connections, tightening one before, tightening one down before all the rest, and you guys get it if you have worked on cars before, or anything really. If there's 2 points to tighten down, you got to slowly and incrementally tighten them down as you go. As far as the wastegate goes, so it is in there. bam, obviously, I mean, I said that the car was back together, so um, it's all good there. Went pretty smoothly after I took the filter off the turbo. Had a little bit of room. Ooh, sorry about that. Had a little bit of room right there between the ABS and the boost reference line there. However, it was a little bit difficult, and I'm going to go under the car just for the fun of it to show you guys just a tad bit of what I was dealing with and kind of some things that I am not too much of a fan of and I need to work through. So, oh, sorry if you can't see anything all that well. It is very tight. So there is the up pipe wastegate, and then this whole thing is this is with the wrap on it is the exhaust. But I ended up having to take the dump tube off of the wastegate in order to get the actual wastegate and its V-band clamp there on. Now, once I got the V-band clamp on, it was relatively easy. And then the other annoying part was getting the dump tube back on. So I actually had to, I left it loose on the V-band, and then I put the dump tube on, and the clamp there cinched down, the dump tube's clamp cinched down pretty well, but I had to rotate it so that I could have the clearance. Oh, sorry if you can't see that well, probably can't, but so I could have the clearance with the frame, or subframe rail right there, enough to clear that, but at the same time have enough space for the downpipe. The only problem I have with the downpipe is how close it is to the transmission. But it's on. I had to finagle the thing on. Now it's like super easy as long as. But looking at it here, I have to remove the blow off valve, or not the blow off valve, but the wastegate's boost lines, the top and bottom port, in order to be able to take off the V-band clamp of it connected to the up pipe. But that is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. Probably could raise the car a little bit and make that a little bit less of an ordeal. But yeah, so it's all back together. 10-pound boost springs in there. I am now just waiting for a message or a way ahead with my tuner to see how he wants to go about this. See if he's going to make any adjustments initially to anything, because I'm not comfortable enough yet to make any big crazy changes if they need to happen. But I don't know, since I know open loop goes to a boost target, it should be fine. It'll go to 23 pounds as much or as it can, and the wastegate will open accordingly. And so, at least that's what I think in theory, even though the rate of the spring pressure is down by 4 pounds. So we'll see how it goes. But ultimately, hopefully, this allows us to configure the closed loop boost control, and then go on a more accurate path of controlling all this boost. And who knows, maybe I'll be able to play with a lot more and eventually get to the point where I could do stuff and finally tune it for the track. If I feel like I could use a little bit more power, or I feel I'm ready for a little bit more power, I could self-adjust it rather than having to have my tuner do it. So we'll see how it goes. But overall, the car is back together. Happy. Got to put some E85 in it because that's what we are testing on, as in big power. The big power is made on E, obviously. Can't make it on 93 because all that fun jazz. But yeah, that's all there is for this video. So we'll see what the way ahead is. It'll likely be a lot of street testing and all that stuff. Nothing too extreme, but I don't want to try to schedule dyno session after dyno session after dyno session when I could do some stuff on the street as I'm just putting around. So yeah, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it, getting used to this ECU. It's kind of fun being able to make a change on the software, storing it, and that immediately takes effect on the car, and watching everything from the car as well. So that's all I have. So until next time, y'all, stay driven.